can kick you down. But if you diss my podcast, you know I will knock you out. Oh, yeah. Elbow to the face, hammer punch to the head. Talking all things fighting like a dream that never ends. The fighter in you brings out the fighter in me. Shake it off and take your corner, time to shout out. The fighter in you brings out the fighter.
Yes! Welcome back, fight friends, to the Shout Out Fight Podcast. How are you doing today? It has been a while. It is Wednesday, August 2nd. I hope everyone's having a good summer up to this point. It is a beautiful summer day here in Calgary. And, man, the mornings are sure getting chilly around here. But in the meantime, I think we're still going to hit 30 degrees today, Celsius that is. So hooray for us. First and foremost, guys, I know it's been a bit of a break. Just to let you guys know, number one, if I still sound a little nasally, I'm sorry. I had nose surgery last Friday, so I'm still recovering from that. And then I'm also expanding my gym, and so between working on that, as well as I have my cub for all of July, just in the first half. I didn't want to send him to daycare. He doesn't like it there. And to be honest, I wanted to spend time with him. So now that he's got a bunch of day camps for the rest of summer camps for the rest of August, it was just me and him for the mornings in July. So so it was really me and him hang out till noon, and then he would go do his thing. I would quickly eat lunch as I run to the gym, and then do renovations, and then I had to teach. So I genuinely didn't have time, but I'm happy to be back. We got some fights to talk about. When was the last podcast? Charles Bissett was the last podcast. Shout out to him. Shout out to Charles Bissett, for doing the podcast, and then coming and doing the seminar at my gym. Man, that guy, classic Dutch, that fella. Very, very Dutch style. But, man, great seminar, great dude, really fun to hang out with. I had a good time with him. Before we move on, please make sure you hit the like button. It's really easy. Just take one finger. You can hit like on most of your, I don't know about all, but most of your social media platforms. Not that I'm on all of them. And maybe if you want to share it with a friend or a foe or a loved one or something like that, that would really help me out as well. And, of course, in the words of my man B. Kong, make sure you subscribe to the podcast, because only the real ones subscribe. You can now subscribe Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere else you get it. Apple Podcast Music, I'm not really sure. To be honest, I just pretty much use Spotify and YouTube, so for myself. But that's where you can find us. Last but not least, before we really carry on, make sure you hit us with 5 stars. Anything less, you're being a hater. I snuck one in real quick at the beginning of August, coming off some big fights as well. So make sure you hit us with a 5-star. And again, all this good stuff really helps me, helps the podcast grow, and I really appreciate that. Speaking of B-Kong, I'll be out to Kelowna next Friday. I always do a peach run. I go out to Kelowna. Oh, God, it's paradise. Penticton, Kelowna, I love it out there. But I go out there every year and come back with just pounds and pounds of peaches. So this year's going to be no different. Heading out there next Friday, sneaking a podcast with my man B. Kong. We and him have a lot of history, and that'll be a fun one. All right, guys, quick shout-outs. I want to give a shout-out to a friend of this show, Brooklyn. What episode was it? Episode 58. I wrote it down, some smarty pants. Who defended his WBC junior title out in Toronto. Congratulations, buddy. That guy, nobody works harder than that kid. Shout out to Brad Stanton as well. Hey, man, I really appreciate you sharing, sharing the logo on the podcast and stuff. You didn't have to do that. Shout out to you, sir. I really appreciate that. I want to give a shout out to the Tobacco Outlet. I'm part of their club, so I always get discount cigars. Dude, I love a good cigar in the summertime. Not so much the winter around here, but summer, without a doubt. Everybody that came to the seminar as well. I appreciate you guys coming and leveling up, like I said, my students and not my students as well. Thanks for coming and being part of that. I had a lot of fun. Dude, low kicks, my goodness. But that was a lot of fun, hey? Thanks for coming up. Shout out to Turkey and Pistols as always. I got to be real with you guys. I'm running out of shirts. I got to order some more. So, Rob, Turkey and Pistols, I will be calling you right away, sir. I need some more shirts. I can't keep them, man. I can't keep them. They're flying off the shelves. I can't keep them. And thank you to all of you as well for rocking the shirts, wearing them, buying them, all that. It, hits me in the feels. We've talked about that. My mentor, my teacher, all this good stuff. I can't remember. He might have been podcast number 3. Matter of fact. Oh, and we just came up on our 2-year anniversary. Happy birthday, Shout Out Podcast. Sorry, I've just been busy. Please. It's not you, it's me. I forgot. I'm sorry. But I think he was podcast number 3, Mr. Mike Bondi, who's my teacher, my business partner, my friend, confidant, man. He's everything to me. Anyway, he's really the one pushing the renovations at my our new gym expanding, and I'm just kind of trying to learn as I go as well. So I appreciate him being patient with me. I don't do tools, man, but I'm trying. And of course, all the renovation helpers as well. Ty, Chris, JP, Devin. I don't miss anybody. George, Max, Yen, Ty. I think I said Ty, right? Anyway, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate all the help. It's pretty tough when it's just two people doing it. Okay, and then we got Fighty Friends, real quick. Just people talking to me online, Instagram, whatever, just talking about fights. Michael Fitzpatrick, Ninja Jason, Mr. Kieran Walsh out down there in Australia, Scotty Without a Body, Eric Thankachin, Wayne B, Tawny, Top Notch Muay Thai, that'd be Dale, Mr. Brad Stanton, Taylor, MMA Journal Canada, Sean Newberry, Scott McKenzie, Coach Dan from First Strike Athletics. Matter of fact, I did a podcast with him, I think, just before the pandemic. Great dude. Make sure you follow him on YouTube as well. He's got tons of like instructional videos. And Crew Jesse out in Toronto. I appreciate it, guys. And always happy to talk fights. Okay, a little bit new for the show. Before we get into the fights, I want to talk about my 3 stars. My 3 stars of the weekend, because we had some good fights. We'll break them down. My 3rd star, if you watched the UFC, Justin Gaethje. Dude, I didn't think he was going to win. I don't think most people did. Not that he couldn't or didn't put it past him, but woo, he looked good from the go, and what a way to finish that one. Number 2, Derek Lewis. That guy is a treasure. Everything, like everything from being in shape to the jump knee, and we'll talk gold. And number 1, in my opinion, the real BMF, Terence Crawford. Woo. Those are my 3 stars for the weekend. Number 3 spot, Justin Gaethje. Number 2 spot, Derek Lewis. Number 1 spot, Mr. Terence Crawford, stealing the page out of the old NHL there with the 3 stars, mowing their lawn. All right, guys, let's get to it. So since we just talked about the 3 stars here, boxing, I got stats. I hope you like stats today, guys. I did lots of homework. So on Saturday, the T-Mobile Arena, it was Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. Terence Crawford, 35 years old, from Omaha, Nebraska, 5'8", 40-0, 31 KOs. He's fought lightweight, light welterweight, and welterweight. He's finished his last 8 opponents in a row, all at welterweight. All these fights are at welterweight. He's fought, so obviously, he's knocked most of these guys out, if not all of them. But Sean Porter, Kell Brook, Amir Khan, Jeff Horn, and Yuri Yorkis Gamboa. This guy's been a pro for 17 years. He has a 78% KO ratio. Now, he's the only man to be a 2-division undisputed champion. The only man to ever do it. Undisputed champ. So what that means in boxing is, by the way, look at me talking like I didn't just learn this. I guess I kind of knew, but I just wanted an actual. But there's unified and undisputed. So if you're the undisputed champ, so there's now, as of 2004, by the way, I learned a lot of this doing this research just for this podcast, but in 2004, it's now the 4-belt era in boxing, right? The IBF, the WBO, the WBC, and WBA. Sorry. Too many elemental Ps. I had to take a look. So in before 2004, there was only 3 belts. So now there's 4. So he's the only man in the 4-belt era to be the undisputed champ. So what that means is you have all belts, all world titles, those 4 belts. If you're a unified champ, it means you have 2 or more, right? So, if you're the WBO and the IBF champ, unified champ. But undisputed means, you carry all the world titles. So the only man to be a 2-division undisputed world champ, he's the first man to hold all 4 belts at welterweight since 2005, and that was Jermaine Taylor. Man, what a, I don't want to say waste. That's not nice, but yeah, he was so good, Jermaine Taylor, and then things got not so good. But anyway, and he's only one of 9 men to hold all 4 belts in the 4-belt era, and a 3-division world champion. Errol Spence Jr., I mean, not as many accolades, but it doesn't matter. 33 years old, originally from New York City, I think now residing out of Houston. 5'9", 28 wins now and 1 loss, 22 finishes. He spent his whole career at welterweight. He's fought Yordenis Ugas, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, Mikey Garcia, Lamont Peterson, and Kell Brook. And again, if you're undefeated at the time, that means you beat all these guys. 75% KO ratio, and former 2-time unified welterweight champ, meaning 2 belts or more. And 8 first-round knockouts. So, man, okay. I hope it was hard. I'll be honest. I watched the UFC first, and then I shout out to Charles. Me and him watched it at my house. And then I watched the boxing fight after. Man, Terence Crawford, he's just ice cold, hey? Ice cold. Like, just even from that interview of him wrapping his hands, just talking about just going to work, this is just my time, like really, really laying it out. And but not like an idiot, you know what I mean? Like, you can tell he really believes what he's saying. And then goes in there and just like, first of all, his jab, man, his jab, his eyes, I don't know where to start, right? Like, he's unbelievable. He kind of flares his elbows in tight, as shot boxing the camera here. Man, just I was so impressed. Everybody was, right? Most people, if you listen to most boxing pundits, would call this a 50-50 fight or close to it. And it wasn't close at all. Terence Crawford, maybe I gave Spence round one, but other than that, that's it. I mean, and a lot of people didn't give him round one. So other than that, it was Terence Crawford, the Terence Crawford show. Man, what a masterpiece! His jab, just his patience, knocked him down. I believe it was in the second, twice in the seventh, and then finished it in the ninth. And he was just so patient, man. Almost to the point where he was playing with his food. like he did not like there was no urgency, there was no panic, there was no nothing out of Terence Crawford. It was an unbelievable display, and you could tell that he took away what looked to me. Now, I'm no undefeated pro boxer, but I thought he made Spence not look like Spence. His feet just weren't underneath him, kind of reactive, a little bit jittery, and just, Terence Crawford is clearly something special. And as a matter of fact, I was as I was reading some stuff online here, I think it was Steve Bunce from 5 Live Boxing said, he hasn't really been the same, or he questions if he's been the same since, I believe it was a torn retina and a car accident, which, they're impaired driving, and he's talked about all this. But has he been the same after that? To be honest, I haven't been following them that close. Like, these guys are boxing pundits since then to really tell, but who knows? That's just what I hear. I also hear there's a rematch clause. Now, in my opinion, if you saw the George Kambosos versus, who was that? Teofimo Lopez? No, Devin Haney. If you watch that fight, it wasn't even close. Devin Haney easily won, and then Kambosos exercises the rematch clause and takes it right away, and it looked worse. Like, that was not a good idea. I get it. You're a warrior. I get it. I can do it. I get it. But, man, you're playing with millions and millions of dollars. So I hope Spence doesn't take an immediate rematch. I noticed that he's like, I never have any excuses, but if I did, I'd never let you know anyway. It's like, oh, don't do that, in my opinion. But what's next for Bud Crawford? I mean, I know that there's two of them, Jamel and Jamal Charlo. Whoever's the champ at 154, I believe, has a fight coming up with Canelo, and so. And that's the division higher. I'd like to see that, I know they're talking about Ennis as well. I think that's going to be the fight, probably like mandatory. I think he's the mandatory opponent. But if you look at the division underneath them, if those guys are willing to move up and fight Bud Crawford, or I don't know, I don't really know if cutting weight's hard for him. But you have those are the guys, Liam Smith, like I said, I think Tim Tszyu. There's is that not the division with like Josh Taylor and Teofimo Lopez? Like, there's some big ones underneath him. Now, if they're willing to move up, who knows? And even shout out to Canadian Cody Crawley. I believe he's ranked number 2 in one of these organizations. If you look at his body of work, I mean, you would take it for a couple bucks, But he's undefeated as well. But the body of work is just not at all at the depth of either of these gentlemen. But boy, that was, you really got to see greatness. And you even see some, I can't remember what it was, boxingnews.com or something like that, even said, could you start talking about Terence Crawford as the greatest 147 of all time, the GOAT? I hate this GOAT talk. Well, I don't, but it's getting annoying. I just, when you think of the 4 kings way back when, I mean, even if they were middleweight, but I still believe Sugar Ray Leonard, if I remember from the website, don't get me wrong, I don't actually know the stat, but I think it said he went 12-1 at welterweight. His only loss to Roberto Duran. So it's like, so you can make an argument because there's a loss, but the reality is when you look at boxing back then, you can't. It's Sugar Ray Leonard, and even then Sugar Ray Robinson. I can't remember what. Anyway, who cares? in my opinion, is Sugar Ray Leonard. It's pretty cool that we get to live in an era where someone like Terence Crawford's in that conversation. Even I always love being part of that. I got to be part of that era. I got to cheer. I got to anyway. What a crazy awesome fighter, and just stoic as hell from start to finish. He was awesome. Okay, sticking on boxing here. We also have this weekend. Well, if you want to call it boxing, we have Jake Paul. This is this Saturday in Dallas, Texas. Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz. Jake Paul, 26 years old, from the U.S., 6'1", 6 wins, 1 loss with 4 KOs. Usually fights at 192 pounds. Gee, I'm seeing a trend here. Nate Diaz, 38 years old, from the U.S., 6 foot. This is his pro boxing debut. Usually fights at 155 to 170. Man, these Paul guys are consistently fighting people smaller than them. It's pretty easy why. I think Nate did say that he would like to come back and fight in the UFC. I'm assuming this is a big money fight. This is why he's doing it. But I also just saw a press conference that came out, I think it was yesterday, where he just walked off set. You could tell he's just getting agitated and looking for a way out, and found one and just went peace and got up, and they kind of, where are you going? He's, I'll be right back, and then just ducked out. What a G. Anyway, Jake Paul fought. He's fought Ben Askren, knocked him out. Tyron Woodley, Tommy Fury, who he lost to, Nate Robinson. A couple stats here for you. So Nick Diaz took. The UFC's got some funny stats, hey? They got weird stats for everybody. That way everybody can be in the history books. Nate Diaz took 3.77 significant strikes per minute in the UFC and has a 52% defense rate, which was the worst of his last 5 opponents, including Tony Ferguson. So he gets punched. He gets hit. But we know that already. I believe this just got turned into a 10-round fight as well. It was supposed to be 8 rounds, and then Nate said, I'd prefer it to be 10, and Jake went, yeah, fine, it's 10. So I believe this is a 10-round fight. And I also hear that, well, there hasn't been a lot of promotion, to be honest, but I hear that's just Nate Diaz. He's not going to play along. He doesn't want to do it. And, Jake Paul says he gets off on that. When you talk smack, you bring the fight, you get in each other's face. He likes that. That's what drives him. So good for Nate Diaz not playing that, and just sticking to his schedule. Does what he wants to do. And now this is in Dallas. I don't know if this got settled at all, but I remember there was a weed issue. Like they were going to test Nate Diaz, but and maybe there's going to be a fine. But here, I don't know if that got resolved or not. I don't know. But I remember they was still talking about Dallas. So if that is the case, to be honest, I would just assume you would say, well, listen, I'm clearly going to get popped for weed. So what you're going to do if you want me to fight is you're going to pay my fine. You're filthy rich. You want me to fight you. You're going to pay my fine. They call it a no contest or whatever the hell you want. Who cares? It's an exhibition fight anyway. And you pay my fine, and we both ride off in the sunset, carrying our cash. I fully assume Jake Paul will win this. He's just big. Way bigger. He's pretty good for the amount of experience he has. I'll give him that. We don't know anything about Nate Diaz. Has he been training? Does he care? Is he just going to go and give him the finger and the gloves and slap him around? And, who knows? But that's what makes it fun, right? Who knows what you're going to get from Nate Diaz? But, I just assume Jake Paul will win, but who cares? Enough talking about that fight. All right, UFC 291. So that's boxing. Oh, wait. I did write that there's a couple things coming up here, matter of fact. Sorry. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Sorry. August 12th, just sticking on. I tried to kind of stick to the art, so boxing in the meantime. August 12th, Anthony Joshua is fighting Dillian White in London. And August 26th, Alexander Usyk's going to be fighting Daniel Dubois in Poland for Usyk's WBO, IBA, and IBF world titles. Again, these big guys, there's kind of like 5 or 6 of them, maybe 4 or 5 at the top that just kind of circle each other. Like, God damn it, will one of you bite? Let's go. Except I did hear, I don't know. I've kind of been out of it for the past month. That Deontay Wilder was going to be fighting Andy Ruiz. Is that still going on? But I mean, he should fight Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua, yeah. Anyway, you know the dance. And then September 30th, there's Canelo. Canelo's going to be fighting Jermell Charlo. There we go. I wrote it down. Smarty pants. It's 2 times I got to say that this episode. Jermell Charlo. in Las Vegas for Canelo's undisputed super middleweight titles. Did you guys happen to see, again, I can't remember, there's Jermel and Jamal Charlo, and they're identical twins, but you see a little scuffle with Caleb Plant where it looks like Caleb Plant, well, he did, slapped him right in the grill, good and hard, but it looks like Caleb Plant is the one who initiated it, but apparently that's not what happened. Anyway, boxing drama. I like Caleb Plant, awesome fighter, good attitude, just, I don't know, big fan of that guy. Anyway, speaking of the Charlos. Okay, so there's your boxing talk. So, again, like I just said, as of the title of the show, in my opinion, the real BMF title goes to Terence Crawford, making history, making an undefeated, very, very, very good boxer. Like, this was not, I mean, I know this fight's been kind of in the works for 5 years, but in the meantime, these guys have still been doing work, and this was a mega fight. It was a mega fight on paper. But didn't go, man. Terence Crawford made it look easy. Unbelievable. All right, UFC 291. Let's move on to some MMA. In Salt Lake City, Utah, the main event for the BMF title. Oh, no, I was going to say, I'll post it on Instagram. I always do this. I took a screenshot of all these awesome statistics on my phone, which I'm using to film this. These guys have like 10 things in common. They're both 34. They've both done this after that. Like, again, these fun UFC stats. But anyway, Dustin the Diamond Poirier, 34 years old. Poirier from Lafayette, Louisiana, 5'9", 29 wins, 8 losses with 22 finishes. And, man, he's fought Michael Chandler, Charles Oliveira, McGregor 3 times, Dan Hooker, Khabib, beat Holloway twice. He's fought Eddie Alvarez, Gaethje twice, 1 win, 1 loss. Cub Swanson, a couple stats here as well, fun ones. Former lightweight interim champ, 8-time fight of the night. Tied for the most fight of the night bonuses with Nate Diaz, Edson Barboza, and Frankie Edgar. 4-time performance of the night. Tied with Drew Dober for most KOs at lightweight at 8. Tied 6th for most UFC wins with John Jones, Rafael Dos Anjos, and Neil Magny. Tied 5th for most UFC finishes with Anderson Silva and Derek Lewis, who we'll be talking about. Justin Gaethje. Justin the Highlight Gaethje, 34 years old from Arizona, 5'11", 24 wins, 4 losses, 21 finishes, and only 4 fights total have gone to a decision, win or loss. He's fought Rafael Fiziev, man, he battered him. Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler, Khabib, Ferguson, Cerrone, Poirier, Eddie Alvarez. So these guys obviously have very similar opponents. Former interim lightweight champ, now the BMF champ, which doesn't mean shit. 7-time fight of the night, tied with fight of the night bonuses, tied for 5th most. 5-time performance of the night, 8th most post-fight bonus wins, and highest significant strike accuracy in lightweight history at 60%. Whoa, that's more than 1 in every 2 shots you're getting slammed with. That sucks. And 2-time fight of the year. That one I remember was Michael Chandler. That was so fun. Man, what a fight, hey? I'm a big fan of, I'll tell you, Dustin Poirier. I noticed him, probably maybe his UFC debut or in the first 1 or 2 fights. What I noticed about him was his nickname, The Diamond, because in my opinion, only one man has that nickname, Ramon Deckers. So if you're going to have the Diamond, boy, you better live up to it. And he has. You know, he really has. He's been around a long time. Now, I thought he was going to win this. Justin Gaethje, man, he's getting, I mean, he's good. I really like him, but just sometimes you're not really sure what kind of Gaethje you're going to get. And I thought from the very get-go, he looked great. Justin Gaethje versus Poirier. I thought Poirier had Poirier's southpaw, so for those who can't watch him dancing around again here, but kept trying to block the left hook of Gaethje, which is good, by lifting his shoulder and his elbow. And I'm like, oh, man, I don't know. And he got clapped with a few. And then just like Leon Edwards, like, you know, they love to show that replay. And by the way, it was at the same building. It was throw the cross, leave it out there, and have the kick come behind. In my opinion, classic Muay Thai. But yeah, I thought that was a really good showing for Justin Gaethje. Now that they're 1-1, I'd love to see them. In my opinion, I'd love to see them finish it. Let's do one more. Hey guys. Sorry guys. That again, as we talked about, Renault's going on, so that was my business partner just peeking his head in, saying hi. Yeah, so man, what a finish by Gaethje. That, I mean, the highlight, right? I guess now, so those knockouts happen in the same building as well. Leon Edwards knocking out Kamaru Usman, and Justin Gaethje And look the same setup, orthodox versus southpaw, except last time was the other way around. But woo boy, I'd like to see that now. And again, if you look at where do they go from here? Justin Gaethje now wins. He's the BMF title. Stupid, gives a gimmicky, dumb, shitty, stupid thing. It's so stupid. Anyway, isn't the BMF the champ? Like, isn't that the baddest motherfucker? Like, isn't that how that works? Anyway, Gaethje. So now I know Oliveira, that I think it's in October, just got matched up again with Islam Makhachev. So they're gonna go again. I think Gaethje should wait. I'm assuming he's going to wait and fight whoever is the winner of that for a title shot. Either of these guys, in my opinion, they've been around so long and done so much for the business, and they're at the top anyway, that they're always 1 or 2 wins away. I mean, even Poirier from a title shot. So, so then Poirier, I mean, what does he do next? I'm not really sure. I'm trying to think of who's in that division. But they've all kind of fought everybody. So yeah, it's tough, man. He's in kind of a cool spot. Not a cool spot, I mean, but an interesting spot. But I was just going to say, what a cool guy, too. He's already doing interviews talking about it. And like, hey, man, I've already won at life. Okay, I lost a fight. Like, who cares, man? My family's good. Life is good. I'm winning that life. That's the way to do it, man. That's the way. Can't say the same for McGregor. That's who's barking. McGregor's trying to get Justin Gaethje to fight as well. But I don't know. I've had enough of that fella. Anyway, in the semi-main event, we had Jan Blachowicz versus Alex Poatan Pereira. Jan Blachowicz, 40 years old, from Poland, 6'2", 29 wins, 10 losses, 18 finishes. He made his UFC debut in October 2014. Former light heavyweight champ, 5-time performance of the night, 5th most fights at light heavyweight, 7th most wins at light heavyweight. Okay, yeah, there we go. 4th highest takedown percentage in lightweight history at 50%. And by the way, 2-time IFMA medalist, former Muay Thai man, and hard as hell leg kicks. And one of those was gold. He's fought Glover Teixeira, Izzy, obviously, Adesanya, Dominic Reyes, Corey Anderson, Luke Rockhold, Jared Cannonier, just a couple kind of opponents there. And Alex Pereira from Brazil, 6'4", training right now. He's from Brazil, but training at Ohio under Glover. 8-2 in MMA with 6 finishes, 33-7 with 21 finishes in kickboxing, and 1-0 with 1 KO in boxing. And this guy's fought from middleweight, light heavyweight up to cruiserweight. I guess that'd be boxing. He has fought Canadian standouts Simon Marcus, Artem Levin, Artur Kashenko. Artur Kashenko used to fight at like 154. That's a lot of weight. But anyway, he's fought Izzy 4 times, Artem Vakitov, and another Canadian, Rob Thomas. He was the UFC middleweight champ. He has in 6 fights in the UFC. 3 of those are performances of the night. Doing okay for yourself there, Alex. 2022 breakout fighter of the year from like every ESPN, MMA Junkie, Yahoo Sports, MMA Fighting, Sherdog, all those. Obviously with his win over Adesanya. 5-time defending middleweight glory champ, 2-division glory champ, and 2-time KO of the year. All right, so I will go on record as saying a few podcasts ago, quite a few, but I've said it a few times. I'm not a fan of Pereira. He's a big dinosaur. He just kind of relies on that left hook power. Take that back. Take that back right now. I'm allowed to change, right? I'm not a politician. I'm allowed to change my mind. He's growing on me for every reason. You get to hear more about his life and his just complete stoicism. Hey, that guy is just, people are now almost making fun of him, right? For it. He never smiles. He doesn't, he's stone cold. But man, I'm really just impressed with his amount of learning. He's clearly got a lot to learn, and he's doing a great job of it. And that's what I really like those challenges of like, okay, I was a kickboxing bad man, but now I got a brand new mountain to climb up. And I'm going to do it. I'll put in the work. And he does it quietly and does his thing. How can you not love that? So, Mr. Pereira, you are growing on me for sure. Now, who won this fight? It obviously comes down to round 2, right? Blachowicz clearly won round 1. Pereira definitely won round 3. But round 2, I know Blachowicz at the end was looking pretty gassed, maybe a little rocked, almost finished. Could if it went 15, 10 seconds more, 15, 20, who knows? Maybe it could have been finished, but that's not what happened. But what about the rest of the round? I'm right in the middle. I see both. I can see both sides. Like, if I had to pick, I would pick Alex Pereira for sure. When you got a guy tired and almost finished, and he's pretty much saved by the bell, you won that round. But is that how it's scored? What about the rest of the round? What about the control that happened earlier? Like, I'm not quite as versed at maybe scoring as some of these MMA nerds, but yeah, I guess I kind of thought Alex won, but I wouldn't have been surprised if Jan did. Jan feels like he got ripped off, but any close fight, the other guy's going to feel that way. So it sounds like they have Yuri Prohashka, or however you say his name, the former champ, versus Pereira next. I know it hasn't been confirmed for the title, and that division has just been doomed since Jones left. It's just kind of cursed, but that'd be a fun fight. Probably not going to the ground. I think Yuri right now is training in Thailand. I was listening to him on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, but he wants that fight. He wants to fight Pereira. Just doesn't sure. He's pretty sure that's what's next. He's 100% ready to go. He's going to start training camp, assuming that's his opponent, but isn't sure if it's for a title or not. I bet it will be. So I'd love to see that, man. That'd be a wild one. Someone's going out. And to be honest, if I had to make a prediction right now, Yuri gets knocked out. He gets hit a lot, man. He just doesn't have a problem. And Alex will be happy to oblige. So I'll take Pereira, to be honest, for now, to win that one. All right, and then we had Derek Lewis. Derek, the Black Beast, Lewis versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Derek Lewis, 38 years old, from the U.S., 6'3", 264 pounds. He made his debut in 2009, MMA debut. 27 wins, 11 losses with 23 finishes. And he fought way back in the day in the UFC as well. One championship standout, Guto Inosante, who's up there in title contention. KO in first round. 5-time performance of the night. He's tied for second most heavyweight post-fight bonuses with 8. The other guy would be Stefan Struve, that crazy 7-foot dude. He has most KOs in the UFC and heavyweight. See, this is a weird stat they threw at me here. Most KOs in the UFC, heavyweight, and finishes in heavyweight history. Most KOs in the UFC and most heavyweight finishes in history at 14. He's tied with Anderson Silva and Dustin Poirier for 5th for most finishes total in the UFC. I see the other one was heavyweight. I see. Second most wins in heavyweight history, tied for second most wins in heavyweight history. He's tied for most heavyweight bouts with Frank Mir. And third most total fight time in the UFC at heavyweight at 3 hours, 49 minutes, and 21 seconds. And had the 2018 comeback of the year, which obviously knocked out with seconds left. But sorry, I'm distracted by this stat here. 3 hours and 49 minutes at the third most total fight time. When you think of Derek Lewis, you don't think of a guy who was in there very long. He smashed the snot out of people. But there it is. Marcos Rogerio de Lima, 38 years old, from Brazil. 6'1". He's fought from middleweight all the way to heavyweight, so there's been some weight gain in there. 21 wins, 9 losses, 17 finishes. The former WEC champ, and he took part in Tough Brazil in 2014. He has fought Andrei Arlovsky, Ben Rothwell, Stefan Struve, Ovint St. Pro, which he was overweight for, and Paulo Filho, which he won the title for in WEC, and that was, I believe, at middleweight. So not quite the body of work of Derek Lewis, but man, Derek Lewis looking in good shape and decides to use that to his advantage and comes out with a jump scissor knee and smacks Buddy right on the chin, and Buddy turtles up and it's over. Dude, Derek Lewis, that was awesome. How do you not love that guy? And then his post-fight, just everything he did, everything he said was perfectly timed. And the funny part is, it's not like I kind of think Izzy comes off as a little cheesy with a lot of his, sorry guys, I want to fix my mic here. With a lot of his, what look like practiced antics. Same with Jake Paul. It just comes off as cringy, but Lewis always comes off as completely genuine and just on the spot. And just everything from taking his shorts off, doing that silly dance, to the DX chop, to what was he saying? Okay, here's really what I'm getting at. The fact that as he drops in all this, I don't know, man, just I've been practicing this for 5 years, and just kind of, saying what he's doing, and then he just goes, and now that I'm a free agent, and you're like, what? You just dropped that? Like, I even thought the timing that he dropped that he's a free agent was well timed. Man, just everything he did, everything he said was so perfect. So now he is a free agent. He did say he'd like to stay with the UFC. Very smart thing to say, in my opinion. But let's say he does. Let's say he re-signs with the UFC. What do you do with a guy like Derek Lewis? Like, it seems like doesn't really care about the title, wants to make make money. And like, he's 38. Like, but such a fan favorite. But like, what do you just feed him? Like, he's kind of a bit of a gatekeeper, right? But I don't know, man. It doesn't matter where that guy goes. I hope he stays with the UFC, honestly. And but who knows? Anywhere that guy goes, he's gonna be welcome. But now is he fishing for like a Francis Ngannou fight? Was that the reason he said that? Or is there, what's going on? Maybe is there more money somewhere else? One championship, maybe. Now that they're coming to the U.S. a lot. So, matter of fact, they just announced they're coming to like 5 cities in the U.S. But anyway, Derek Lewis looking in great shape, and just man, that was awesome. Hey, from start to finish, that guy is a treasure. UFC, hang on to that guy. Derek Lewis, jump knee. Come on now. That's a big dude, man. 263 pounds doing that. Okay, and then we had Tony Ferguson, El Kukui, 39 years old from the U.S., versus Bobby Green, 36, from the U.S., 5'10". Tony Ferguson, 6 foot, 155 pounds. Lightweight, welterweight, 25 wins, 9 losses, 20 finishes. Before we get into this stat, unfortunately, he was the lightweight interim champ, Tough 13, so Ultimate Fighter 13 winner, 1-time Fight of the Year, 6-time Fight of the Night, 3-time Performance of the Night, and he's tied Khabib for the longest win streak in lightweight history. I think that was at 12, and before we get into that, okay, Bobby Green, he's fought from 5'10", USA, like I just said, super lightweight, welterweight. Made his MMA debut in 2008, 30 wins, 14 losses with 19 finishes, 1 submission of the night, 2-time Performance of the Night, 4-time Fight of the Night. Most significant strikes landed in lightweight history at 1,637. That's a lot. And most total strikes period at 1,863. 2-division King of the Cage champ, and he has fought Drew Dober, Islam Makhachev, Ali Quinta, Rafael Fiziev, Clay Guida, Dustin Poirier, James Krause, you dirty, dirty bastard. James Krause. I'm sure I got the name right. Is that the fella that was doing all that MMA betting garbage? I just want you to know if that's you. I lost sponsorship from a betting website because you did that. You son of a bitch. Yeah, you heard me. Just don't come here. Or do. Thanks, man. Thanks, James. Anyway, I was avoiding some stats here to tell you because Tony Ferguson is tied with Elvis Sinisic, Phil Baroni. Boy, what happened to that guy? I'm going to have to do some research back onto him. And Hector Lombard for second longest losing streak in the UFC. And the first place, unfortunately, is another legend, BJ Penn. Man, it sucks when these guys stay around too long. His last win was June 2019, 4 years ago. Oh, just over 4 years ago. Oof. That's rough. 0-6. Here's the stat. From 2011 to 2019, he went 15-1. In 2020 to 2023, 0-6. All in the UFC. Brutal. I'm a fan of fundamentals, therefore I'm not a huge fan of Tony Ferguson. I'm not even a fan of his attitude. And the reality is he needs to hang him up. This was a weird fight. They say styles make fights, and in this case, this was an amateur-looking fight. Just even kicks at weird time, and it did not look good. I'm not saying these guys aren't good. They clearly are. But their styles together are very unorthodox, and it did not mesh well whatsoever. So Tony Ferguson loses this one via choke. He gets choked unconscious. Head and arm choke, if I recall. But he complained. Now, he did get poked in the eye. Absolutely did. And he said that was the reason for the loss. And Bobby Green did that on purpose. And blah, blah, blah. But I don't know, man. Somebody in Tony's circle needs to convince him or tell him or whatever. Like, it's just time to stop. And Father Time remains undefeated. So, everyone's got to stop sometime. It just seems like your time should have come before it's coming. So I really wish him good luck. He looked every bit of 139 years old, no offense. He just did not look good. I hope he stops fighting and can look back on a historic career. Okay. That's all the ones I wanted to talk about for that. Now, upcoming UFC, we have this weekend in Nashville, Tennessee, the main event. Number 4, bantamweight Corey Sandhagen fighting number 7, Rob Font. This is the main event, as just mentioned. Corey Sandhagen, 31 years old, from the U.S., 5'11". He's fought, 16 wins, 4 losses, 10 finishes. 2-time fight of the night, 2-time performance of the night, and KO of the year versus Frankie Edgar on that jump knee. That was beautiful. He's fought Marlon Vera, Peter Yan, TJ Dillashaw, Frankie Edgar, Aljamain Sterling, John Lineker, Rob Font, 36 years old, 5'8", from the US of A. 20 wins, 6 losses with 13 finishes, 4-time performance of the night, 2-time fight of the night, and tied for second most bantamweight KOs with Marlon Vera. He's fought Adrian Yanez, which was his last fight. A great fight, too. They both got pieced up, but that was a good one. Marlon Vera, Jose Aldo, Cody Garbrandt, Sergio Pettis. And on this one as well, shout out to Canadian fighters. Gavin Tucker, who was going to fight Chris McMillan way back in the day, but got the call of the bigs, so still up there fighting in the UFC. Congrats. And Tyler Bozer fighting on this event as well. All right, guys. And then we have Saturday, August 12th, UFC Fight Night in Vegas. I found this one kind of interesting. I didn't really care that much. Vicente Luque versus Rafael dos Anjos, RDA. Vicente Luque, 31 years old, from the USA and then / Brazil, pretty much. 5'11", 31 wins, 9 losses with 19 finishes. He made his debut in 2009. He did. But he was part of the Ultimate Fighter American Top Team versus Blackzilian squad. 4-time performance of the night, 4-time fight of the night. Now, I don't know. I don't watch too much MMA, so I've known of him for a while, but I just didn't realize things like second most finishes in welterweight history at 13, tied third most post-fight bonuses at welterweight with Wonderboy. Second highest finishes per win rate in UFC history. 14 fights, 13 wins by finish. And then tied for second most welterweight KOs at 8 with Thiago Alves and Li Jingliang. I had no idea. Like that this guy was kind of got some history accolades. Fought Bilal Muhammad, Michael Chiesa, Tyron Woodley, Wonderboy, Mike Perry, Brian Barberena, Leon Edwards. RDA, 38 years old, from Brazil. Rafael dos Anjos, 5'8". Training out of Evolve MMA in Singapore. Did I read that right? 32 wins, 14 losses with 16 finishes. He's the former lightweight champ. 3-time fight of the night. 4-time performance of the night. Check this out. I didn't realize some of this. So before I move on, I always thought of him as like a cardio machine, like suspectly cardio machine. Like he would go from first round to fifth, crazy. And it wasn't until he ran into, I think it was Colby Covington, if I remember that right, who could kick it up a gear even further than him. I didn't know there's a man like that existed at the time. Anyway, longest ring time in UFC history, 8 hours, 1 minute, and 49 seconds. This guy has put in an average work day of being in his underwear, standing in the octagon fighting. My God. Most unanimous decision wins in the UFC. It's not, I don't know if that's any, I mean, that's a good title, I suppose, so that they're unanimous. Tied 6 most UFC wins with Dustin Poirier, John Jones, and Neil Magny, which we talked about at 21. Second most decision fights in UFC history at 20. I don't know, that's probably not a stat you're proud of. But whatever, win's a win, right? He's fought Brian Barberena, Rafael Fiziev, Paul Felder, Michael Chiesa, Leon Edwards, Kevin Lee, Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington, Robbie Lawler, Tony Ferguson, Eddie Alvarez, Donald Cerrone, Nate Diaz, Khabib. And this guy made his UFC debut at UFC 91 in 2008 when Randy Couture and Brock Lesnar were the main event. That was a long-ass time ago. This guy's been fighting for a long time. My God. 15 years just in the UFC. What a savage. Beautiful mustache, too. I guess mustache game's on point. Okay. So that's it for the UFC. Good. So we covered some boxing. We covered some MMA. Boom. There's our fights for the weekend. And it was fun. There's good fights on both. Good boxing fights, good MMA fights. I loved it. Let's move on to Muay Thai, which, to be honest, I have the least amount of because, number one, one Friday fights didn't happen last weekend. I'm not sure why. Maybe somehow I missed it, but I couldn't find it. So we had the Rajadamnern World Series, the welterweight tournament. That happened on Saturday, and I'm not sure if it's the main event, but I think it was. It was Sajjad Superman Venom Muay Thai versus Sanpon Sor Samai. Sajjad, 21 years old, 5'11", 147 pounds, 27 wins, 9 losses. He is the Rajadamnern World Series 2022 champ, as well as the Rajadamnern Stadium champion, 3-time IFMA medalist, 1 gold, and the WBC World Champion in 2022. He's fought Hercules, Yodkumpan, Hercules, I want that name, Shadow Singamawin, Julio Lobo, Konkalai, and first Iranian WBC World Champ. The only thing I could find on his opponent is he was 27 years old, 5'10", 57 wins, 10 losses, and 5 draws, and I believe he was a late replacement. So this is a pretty heated decision here. So Sajjad knocked out of the tournament. Last year's champ gone. He gets knocked out by relative. If I got this right, relative late replacement, Sampan, and it was by decision. And I'm reading the comments online. Like even Sajjad himself was, oh, that's it, no more Mr. Nice Guy, and I'm not going to points anymore, and kind of being like that. And his coach, Mehdi Zatut, the referees, what are you guys watching? And everyone, oh, he got ripped off, and everyone's saying, nah, he lost. What are you talking about? And so very, very, very polarizing fight. I'm gonna have to rewatch that one, but interesting nonetheless. If I'm gonna be honest, it was late at night. I fell asleep on the couch. I'm just coming off nose surgery, so I ended up falling asleep. But my whole thing with it was a ripoff, or even Sajjad himself saying, that's it, I'm not going to go to judges anymore. They have open scoring system at the Rajadamnern World Series, so the score after every round. Like, I'm not saying why don't you just go knock him out, obviously, but it's not like at the end of the fight it was a surprise. So I'm going to rewatch this one. I just didn't have time, guys, but I am going to rewatch it, and I'll rewatch always on when I rewatch it. I prefer to watch it on mute just so I can come up with my own scoring. I'm easily influenced. So if I from hype. So if I just keep it on silent, then I won't be influenced. But officially, Sajjad out of the tournament, still a stadium champ, but will not be the 2023 RWS World Tournament champion. Also, so that was Group B. Also in Group A, we had Ritwada Petyindi, who also has fought on one championship, versus Shirzad TC Muay Thai. Ritwada, 27 years old, 5'11", and southpaw. Hi, Aya. You're on the podcast now, just so you know. 66 wins, 21 losses. He's the 27. He beat Lumpini champ, in 2017. The World Muay Thai Council World Champ in 2016, and in 2014 was the Channel 7 Stadium champ, and as well as Fight of the Year that year. So this guy's, as far as the kind of main stadiums is besides the Rajadamnern, but bad dude. He's fought Yodkumpan, Samapet Fairtex, Ferrari Fairtex, Chujaron 5 times, who beat Capitan, I think, cut him up real bad 2 Capitan fights ago. Capitan Petyindi, bad dude. Out of those 5 fights, as a matter of fact, Ritwada's only won 1 of them. He's beat Yodwicha twice. He's fought Pakorn. Yod Panamrong, he's fought 6 times, and he's beat Superlek. Shirzad, the only thing I could find is that he was a late replacement. He got KO'd by a beautiful elbow combination and got absolutely this is Sparta kicked after trying to call on the crowd. He got knocked down. He gets up and he's trying to wave the crowd on. And Ritwada just comes in and just teeps him across the ring. Ooh. But he was okay. Beautiful display by Ritwada. The difference in what I assume in experience in this one really showed. Bad dude. Everybody at Petyindi's a bad dude. And then in the Group B as well, we had Hercules from Thailand, who we just talked about, who had a draw with, I'm sure it was a draw, or maybe a loss. Sajjad, I think, maybe beat him. Hercules from Thailand, 20 years old, 5'10". He's a 28 Lumpini champ in 2018 at 105 pounds. So that's, that's 42 pounds. He's gone up in 3 years? 2-3 years? I'm sorry. My math is terrible. That would be 5 years. That's a lot of weight. Rajadamnern Stadium champ, 2018 as well, at 105 pounds. And he's tall too, man, 5'10". And now 20 years old, so from age 15 to 20, there's growing that obviously happens in there, and was the 2022 IFMA silver medalist. He's fought Sijad. Like I said, he did lose, as a matter of fact. He's fought Yod IQ, ET, and Samingdam. And he fought Liu Wenji from China. I didn't write any stats. I couldn't find anything, but Hercules was all over this poor guy. You could tell from like round one, just in the guy from China, G, you could tell in G's face that he was like, shit, I'm just going to have to accept what's about to happen here. And then ate a couple elbows, and then if I'm remembering correctly, Hercules teeps him across the ring and walks in, and then as G comes forward, Hercules hits him with a left up elbow at the same time and just drops him, fights over. He was okay. He's had a couple good cuts, but Hercules was in the driver's seat from this one. And I would imagine these finals got to be coming up pretty soon, or something like that, or knockout stage kind of area of these tournaments. But Hercules looked like a bad man in that one. So good knockout. Anyway, that was your Rajadamnern World Series as far as the fights that I got to see and watch. Now, again, I took a couple screenshots on my phone, so it doesn't really help. But getting to the end here, guys, of this one, I just wanted to talk some fights. Let's go over it. But one championship. This Friday on the 4th, the only one I could see in the morning was that Tyler Harrison from Australia, who's had nothing but wars in one championship, including Sexton as well, is going to be fighting. But that's all I can find. But then we also have on Amazon Prime, so if you miss the morning fights, there's the night fights. Here it is, Chingiz Allazov versus Marat Grigorian for Allazov's featherweight kickboxing world title. Chingiz Allazov, 66 wins, 5 losses, and 37 KOs versus Grigorian, 66 wins, 12 losses, 34 KOs. Very similar record. Marat Grigorian been around a long time. Chingiz Allazov, I remember it was not that many podcasts ago. I was like, I don't really know much about him. But boy, we sure do now, don't we? It is my opinion that Marat Grigorian can win, and out of 10 times might win if I had to pick maybe like 2 or 3 of them. Maybe more, I don't know. I'm just guessing. But I feel like Chingiz Allazov is Marat Grigorian 2.0. He's just a little bit faster. That's just my opinion. And coming off these, a lot of wins, heavy KO, obviously, of Super Bond. I mean, that was about as viral as you're going to get. Marat's been around what feels like a while. I mean, the records are similar. They've been around pretty much the same. But it just feels like Marat's been around a little longer, maybe a little more wars or war-torn. So I'll take Chingiz Allazov in this one, but not putting it past Grigorian. I think he can do it, but this is going to be a hell of a fight. And these guys aren't going to step backwards. This is going to be a good one. We also have Tawen Chai, PK Senchai Muay Thai, and he's going to be fighting in a kickboxing fight, versus David Kiria. Tawen Chai, 129 wins, 31 losses versus Kiria, 39 and 20. Not to derail this fight, it doesn't make any sense, but the fight we really want to see, I believe, is October 29th. Tawen Chai putting his title up versus Super Bond, and that's Tawen Chai's Muay Thai world title. About time a fight like this is happening. Yes. Can't wait. Not to derail that one, but totally didn't I? Also on this fight card, we have Elias Mahmoudi fighting Edgar Tabarez. Elias Mahmoudi, 20 wins, 7 losses. And Edgar Tabarez, 32-6. So Edgar was the guy who just recently fought Rodtang and had a great showing. Looked good, but it's just Rodtang. Elias Mahmoudi, we've talked about him on a few podcasts. He's just an absolute hurricane of martial arts moves, right? Just madness. Really fun to watch. I don't know. I think this would be Muay Thai. I'm going to take Elias Mahmoudi. I feel that Edgar Tabarez, just from a little bit that we do know, is just when you take the really Thai game and you're used to the 5 rounds, I think it's going to be too slow of a start. And Elias is going to catch him. I'm just guessing. If I had to pick, you run a fight podcast, you got to pick, right? So I'll take Elias Mahmoudi, but I do love the style of Edgar Tabarez. And I thought he put a hell of a great showing in his debut versus the champ, undefeated champ, in one championship. Anyway, Rodtang. All right. I think that pretty much brings us to the end of this podcast. I got a little karate lesson. I have some friends that just showed up to do some training. And, other than that, guys, I'm happy to be back talking fights. I know we didn't get to talk about too much other than fights, but let's be real. I still got some renos to go, and I was able to sneak this one in. But I hope everyone's having a good summer. I love talking fights. And let's be real, it's a little kind of quiet until September comes around anyway, but maybe we can squeeze one more in. I'd love to get an interview in this month if I can. So, hey, fighters, if you got a fight coming up, or I know, to be honest, I know I talked to Cody Jerome about maybe going back down to Lethbridge, talking about his post-fight with Quinn. I'd love to do it. Or, got a fight coming up, anything like that, promoters, anything, let's make it happen. All right, guys. It's good to be back. It's good. I almost forgot how to do all this weirdness. Good to be back. Good to see myself or eventually on YouTube. And I hope you enjoy the podcast, guys. If you haven't seen any of these fights, make sure you check them out. Go and appreciate the poetry in motion that is Terence Bud Crawford, because he really is unbelievable to watch. All right, guys. Hope you had fun. See you later.